friends, Sterlin here from Santorini, Greece. Look at this place, it's absolutely beautiful. I thought I would take this time to make a new vlog. Actually, I'm starting a new vlog. I want to be talking about some ideas that I think are becoming more and more pertinent and relevant to all of us who consider ourselves as anarchists or are aligned with voluntarist thinking. So one of the things that has occurred to me over the last few years of traveling, studying, reading, promoting content for cryptocurrency companies is this idea that there's a lot of people who actually don't embrace anarchist values, the anarchist tradition. They really don't want to live without somebody telling them how to live, and they also don't prefer to live without having an understanding that there's some kind of government or laws or ruler in place. So one of the things that I've been promoting and talking about a lot recently is this idea of panarchy. And surprisingly, a lot of anarchists, a lot of people who embrace theories around voluntarism, private property, axiomatic principles, and those kind of ideas haven't really heard of panarchy. And how I can describe panarchy is as the best compromise that we can implement socially for people who don't agree with the anarchist thought process, who don't agree with the fundamental principles behind morality. So one of the interesting things about panarchy is that it's a meta-political theory, or what I would call a meta-philosophical political theory. And the idea behind panarchy is that we should be able to live in any area, in any place in the world, and we should be able to exit those governance models in those areas without moving, without having to relocate physically, and basically live next door to a person who probably doesn't agree with our philosophical tenets. So panarchy really is the meta-political philosophy of non-territorial exit, right? So what's beautiful about this idea, and this is not a new idea, it was written about in a paper by an individual by the name of Paul-Émile Dupuit, who was a Belgian philosopher and botanist. And this was 1860 when he wrote this paper, so it's an idea that kind of fell into obscurity. But the overarching premise here is that why do we have to move over large geographical territories to enter into an area that has rule sets and values and governance structures that we agree with? Why can't we stay in the same place and simply find ways to work together while adhering to our own value sets? To me, it seems like common sense, right? So underlying this idea of panarchy is the idea that we're respecting our cosmopolitan nature as a human species. We're respecting the heterogeneous nature of who we are as a social creature or a social entity, right? So this is a compromise. I say this is a compromise because we can actually tell people, and indeed I've been doing this, we can advocate for whatever type of society that we want to live in, right? You can live in your type of society right here, right? Via this panarchic model, and that society can have a ruler. Somebody can be telling you how to live, making judgment calls on your life, but the guy next door may be living in a whole different type of way. Maybe he lives in more of an anarchistic or voluntarist setup. Maybe the guy across the street lives in more of a communist type of enclave, perhaps a co-op, and shares values around the idea that property is quote-unquote theft, or property ownership is a bad thing. But this inherent to the idea of panarchy is that other people's values and the groups that they share those values with are accepted, right? So as a panarchist, right, we can say, hey, you can live however you want in this neighborhood in accordance with your group's values, but you let me live how I want, involved with my group and their values. and we all live peacefully. See, on an overarching level, panarchy is a solution to a myriad of problems, although it does present a number of criticisms and critiques that I'm not going to get into in this video, right? Especially as it concerns overlapping jurisdictions, problems with common law emerge. What if two people from different groups or value sets or governance structures are living under? What if they come into conflict with each other? How to resolve all those things? There's a lot of minutia and a lot of particulars that I'm not really interested in ironing out for the sake of this particular video. But for the sake of argument, let's just assume that we would be able to iron out all those problems through one mechanism, either some legal innovation or some type of common law agreement. Say we iron all those out for the sake of argument. Now we have a situation where people can have the ruler that they want to have. They can have the person telling them how to live their lives. But we also have a multiplicity of different types of people living in the same group that have different value sets and can stay aligned with those that they agree with. And one of the things about panarchy is it's coming more into fashion, I think, because it's going to be easier to implement because of our access to the internet, especially with the emergence of node-based networks, blockchain. We have the capability to introduce a kind of crypto panarchic environment, right, where we can have governance structures in the cloud, and we can beam those cloud-based governance structures down to the land if we see fit, or we can just have those cloud-based communities and their rule sets exist strictly in the cloud, and the individuals involved therein can live anywhere in the world. And there is an idea that is circulating, right, that's really popular. It was popularized by Balaji, right? He wrote a book called The Network State. The network state is essentially this idea of panarchy conceptualized under the auspices of a technological innovation or a technological invention that allows for the emergence of panarchical societies. So all of us who are anarchists can actually still call ourselves anarchists, right, voluntarists, but instead of having to tell other people, oh, you're going to live in this anarchic society, it's the moral way to live, instead we can go about this a different way. We can say, hey, you can live however you want to live, but you just have to accept how I want to live. And I think this is how a lot of anarchists have already kind of seen it. But the way that we articulate our arguments for anarchism, it can come off as aggressive because those people are like, oh, you just want society to fall into chaos. You want me to live in this environment with you that I don't think is going to function very well, or that's going to be cohesive and that's possibly going to be filled with aggression and all the Molotov cocktail hurlers and all of that nonsense, right? So panarchism allows us a trajectory. It gives us a trajectory in terms of how to approach people and to bring them under the fold of a more novel society that embraces the cosmopolitan nature of our species. I think that's a beautiful thing. I'm going to be making more video blogs and doing a lot more writing on these topics as more of my time has gotten freed up since I left the cryptocurrency exchange space, and now I'm working more in the context of network states. I really enjoyed this, guys. Let's please subscribe, follow my YouTube channel, check out my new website. Hopefully by the time I publish this video, it will be out. I hope. Anyway, cheers. You guys feel free to reach out to me if you need anything at all.